Thanks so much for having me. My name is Ben Burley. I'm the COO and co-founder of Vistapath Biosystems. So we're a team of industry veterans, systems and software experts. And with this unique expertise, we've developed a digital vision assistant to modernize tissue processing in pathology. Now, these labs are where patient tissue samples are processed into a microscope slide and diagnosed by a pathologist. But this is the final definitive diagnosis typically. This is where cancer treatment is guided. This affects the majority of clinical decisions. Currently, these labs are generating $16 billion in revenue, processing 600 million samples, but they're struggling. These labs are struggling to meet that sample demand, and that's growing, and they're struggling for profitability. These are not the CSI labs we see on TV. This is the reality. It's disorganized, and it's wholly manual. That means error, patient harm and death, and litigation for labs, and very labor-intensive, slow and expensive, and stakeholders struggle for access to key information. Vistapath has addressed all of these challenges with the Digital Vision Assistant for sample assessment. Simply, a technician puts the sample container and paperwork inside the enclosure. Cameras read casework. They process. They identify and describe the tissues. It's all uploaded to the electronic records. Using OCR and barcoding to track labels and paperwork eliminates a key source of errors. Our computer vision pipeline describes these tissues in a fraction of a second. And the novel image data that we're capturing will provide new insight to this process. We're saving patients from real harm, labs from potential litigation. Also for a typical lab, $92,000 in estimated rework costs. And with the improvement to process times, they can generate $700K in additional revenue. Competitors are failing in this space, rehashing old efforts to improve manual operations or refine equipment. Vistapath is succeeding with a new vision, human augmentation. Utilize these skilled technicians, but augment their abilities for data entry, for sample description. And with this new way of doing pathology, we'll beat those competitors. Our beachhead market are independent labs. They're focused on the efficiencies that we can deliver. They have a shorter purchasing cycle. From there, we'll move to in-hospital labs to capture more of the over 13,000 customers, and that represents 54,000 potential units installed. This is a really novel solution for this space, but it's utilizing technologies proven in other industries. With that, we can be selling into these independent labs by 2020, and by 2022, generating $70 million in revenue. And this is recurring revenue from multiple streams. This is an entire data and service ecosystem for these labs. Significant revenue from disposables and services. The majority will come from our subscription fee. To give a sense of our market potential, looking just at that fee and the 54,000 potential installations, we can generate $1.4 billion in recurring revenue. And we have a clear vision to expand into all aspects of these labs' operations and see multiple markets for this current system. We started just a year ago. We made great progress. We've got a prototype testing in a top hospital in the US. We've submitted provisional patents and recently completed an initial round of $400K. In 2019, we'll raise 1.4 to continue building our team and prepare for full-scale delivery of the system. In 2020, to meet these revenue goals, we'll raise an additional 2.8 to build our sales and distribution capacity. Vistapath has a short path to market, but a big vision for modernizing these labs. So I look forward to talking to you more about that vision. Thank you.
Good job. All right, who wants to go first, judges? As they think, go ahead, Stephen, and then Michael.
So I saw that you have a pilot scheduled for later this year. What are you hoping to learn from the pilot?
So we see a lot of the big value in the system in error reduction, but we can very quickly prove out time and labor savings. So the initial pilot is to prove out that actual data. We've done a bunch of bench testing to get a sense of of what that savings could be, but to prove it out in a clinical setting is the initial goal.
Michael, grab the mic from Nihal. The one he's sitting on.
How do you sell it? Is this direct sales? Is this channel? And then same thing, since you have hardware, what's the BOM? What's the cost? And how do you train lab technicians to start using it?
Okay, yeah. Let's see. So first off, we'd like to sell directly to the lab managers. We're lucky to have a clear customer base. And then, so it is a hardware product, but we are using third-party manufacturer products. So the actual BOM is pretty low. Margins are well above 80% for a scaled product.
Will you face regulatory issues? Is it creating a diagnosis?
Right. So it is pre-diagnostic, and we really focused on that challenge as we thought about our roadmap and product development. Right now, this really is an augmentation product, so we're not taking over any steps for the technicians, and this is fundamentally pre-diagnostic in addition.
Oi.
Yeah, can you talk about kind of the reasoning behind designing this as a box as opposed to other form factors?
For sure. That's definitely sort of V0, and we imagine this moving to a more distributed node system eventually, and that's both to offer more customization, but also to, so if we think of this in terms of its quality control function, we'd like that quality control capacity to exist throughout the lab and not just at one point. This is, in effect, a quick way to get it into the labs, and specifically it addresses some exposure issues to formaldehyde initially. So it's going to sit within the current fume hood.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? No other questions. We are all set. Thank you
Thanks so
very
much.
much. Well done.